there's a lot of people stuck in the wrong place at the wrong time, and they have to
Mm.
and they don't know what to do about it because uh, familiarity we think of as some kind of security, but it's not,
Mhm.
because real security involves that you change as your environment changes. So,
Mhm.
just as you wear more clothes in winter and less clothes in summer, you have to change as your environment changes. And um, our interaction and communication has to do that as well. Um,
Mhm.
and I I believe that most problems can be seen coming a long time in the future before the problem actually arrives. Um, Even if a problem suddenly appears like that, there's when you look into what happened before, you begin to realize that it's a whole series or chain of events that have led to this one thing happening. So even if, for example, there's say a car accident, which might be something that happens really quickly. It might be because the person didn't get enough sleep the night before because they were worried about something in work or something else, or um, so there's usually a series of events that lead to that, and so I think that it's worth understanding a little bit about the past and the path that a person took to get to a certain point, and realizing that you can change things and it's going to be okay. And I've seen, look, when you get to a certain point in life, you either embrace logic and logical processes or you run away from it. And you embrace it because it's going to help you, or you run away from it because it's too scary for you. And I see, or anytime I meet something which makes no sense to me, it's like it's a person like waving red flags. It's like this is something. Something's not something bad is going to happen, right? There's going to be some negative result because my brain is going. It doesn't work that way, right? Reality is very logical. Like
Mhm.
life is logic. Anytime you go against the logic of things, um, even if it's even if it's techno logic, right? Anytime
Mhm.
you go against the logic of things, you inevitably find that you have some level of problem. So anytime I meet something which is very unusual or strange to me, it's either A, I don't know anything about it and I need to learn something about it, or B, it's just wrong.
Mhm.
Yeah, and you sort of see this everywhere. So, and that there's sort of extremes in life. So I'll take the VR as an example. So I'm reading a lot of forums on the internet about what people think and how people act and how people react to the technology. And you have some people on one side who say, I only use it twice I read this yesterday. I only use it twice for 20 minutes every week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
which seems to me to be very, very little if you're going to understand the technology and use it. Because what can you do in 20 minutes? Not very much. So, and
Mhm.
then there are people on the other side who say, well, at the moment I'm using it 5 or 6 hours a day. Yeah, I
Whoa.
know, I know. Which on the other side seems to be way too much. And either way, it seems to me that there's either you use it so little that you don't understand what it's really for, or you use it too much and
It
it
took control over you.
yeah, or it consumes your time. It just it,
Mhm.
it it just consumes time, and time is such a valuable resource. Now it consumes my time, but I'm always looking at how can I convert input into output? What can I bring into what experience can I have that I can then share with other people some kind of learning from? Or as I say, don't just watch the game to watch the game, right? Every experience every experience gives you the opportunity to think deeper if you want about what is happening. So, this, and there are some people thinking about what is happening around about them, and some people not thinking about what is happening
Mm-hmm.
around about them. But it's the thinking people who have all the advantages because they realize what's wrong and make some level of correction or some level of change in order to make things right. And it's usually these people that are um, on the edge of everything because they tend to make other people nervous because other people understand that these people are going to change something. And one thing, and any one thing that you change could change everything. You tidy up one corner of the room and you turn around and look at the rest of the room and you're like, oh, I got to do the rest of the room now because I've just done one little part. Or you go to the gym and you start training and you build up one set of muscles and you're like, oh, I'm sort of not proportional now because I've built up one set of muscles, so I got to work on some other set of muscles or something like that. So it's it's sort of just the way that we are. But if we're conscious of what we do, then it balances out to a certain
Mm-hmm.
extent. So at the end is that there's a balance there because we're conscious of it. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it just works out that way because of our own level of awareness about what it is that we do. You know, consciousness leads to balance, basically. To being aware of what it is that we're doing naturally leads to some some level of control, I suppose, over what is happening. I think balance is an interesting word because you've got. I'm not sure of the etymology of the word, but I'm aware of the word that contained within the word is the word lance. Yeah, and
Uh-huh.
lance was this long wooden stick that when a knight was on a horse in history and
Mm-hmm.
they were jousting, fighting against each other, the lance was the long stick.
Yeah.
And so it was actually a very aggressive thing to have. It was used in fighting and war. And um, people talk about balance like it's all peaceful. And I'm not sure it's
Peaceful
like.
and harmony.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure that it is all uh, like that. Well, balance is about two sides of things.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so
Black
I
and
mean,
white.
yeah, black and
The
white,
line is
or
between.
the peace and war, right? All of these organizations that are see on the surface things can look good, but under the surface there can be a lot of other things happening. And if you understand holistic principles, black and white, right and wrong, good and bad, these things all exist together, then you can't have peace without war.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. It makes no sense to have peace without war because why would you focus on that? So when you focus on all these organizations that focus on peace,
Where's the war?
well, in order for them to exist, there must be a certain level of conflict, and so they have to be extra careful whether or not they are creating an extra level of conflict by focusing on peace, because the other side of peace is war. So I'm not saying that these organizations are bad or that we shouldn't have peace. I'm just saying that there's a lot of times in history that people have thought that what they were doing was the best way to create peace, which was by sending their army into other countries. Even in recent history, that it's happened quite a lot. That we tend to think the best way for us to help other people create peace is to send our army into their country.
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't really work that well. Um, so yeah, the origin of balance is from the Latin bilancia, from
Yeah.
Latin bilanx, which means to have two pans or two pots in which you hold things and you measure the weight of those two things. Um, there you go. That's it. It's a measurement of things. Anyway, um, that's as a that's as a noun, verb to keep the
Which
equilibriums.
which website do you follow to find them?
I use the
Your-
dictionary of etymology online because etymology gives you the story of the word, and without a story, the words are meaningless. That's why anytime a teacher tells a student to look in a dictionary, it's a
Mhm.
mistake. It's a mistake.
Is it?
Yeah, because a dictionary only gives you a synonym, usually a weaker synonym, meaning a word of similar meaning, but each word is unique. So when you think all words tend to have the same or similar meanings, you misunderstand that the origin of the words is different and highly
Mhm.
specific. Each word exists for a very specific reason. So to understand the word, you must know the story of the word. Not you must know where it came from
Mhm.
and how it grew, not what it is similar to. Because if you start comparing people to people, you're not going to understand the importance of where the person came from.
Mhm.
So the origin of the word is the most important element in understanding the meaning of the word. And of course, we remember stories. And the origin of the word is a story, and we're far more likely to remember it if we can connect it to something that's more real. So if I talk about the history of the word balance and it's two pots or two pans, and you imagine weighing something, it becomes visual, and so and that's just an example of um, how we can remember things, and that it comes from um, two plates basically, because um, lanx was Latin for plate. So
Mhm.
there we go. And and as you build a story into it, then it becomes more memorable. So dictionaries are fine for quick reference, but they make things as forgettable as they are memorable.
Mhm.
Because because well, if you say Mary is just like Jane, it's really offensive to Mary and Jane because they're completely different people. So if you say one word is a bit like another word, you see it in that context. Um, it it can give you a quick reference, but if you don't understand the origin, then it doesn't make sense. Like if knowing history, knowing the past is a large part of understanding the present. And with I think with language, it's important because words are something that we use a lot that we don't think very much about, and they're powerful. Words can be as hurtful as weapons. So,
Mhm.
um, and uh, there's the old story that there's things that you can't change. For example, what you said.
Once you said it. Mm.
Yeah, yeah. So that's a warning to people to be careful about what it is that they say. But it's not a way to live your life because you can't, you know. Yeah, if you're worried about giving the wrong message to people, then what kind of background are you coming from? A background
Your-
where a background where you've given the wrong messages to people?
Mhm.
then, yeah, which goes back to the earlier thing I said, which is you can say 10 positive things and one negative thing, and people will pick up the
Yeah.
negative thing and walk away with that. And
Mhm.